Hey everyone, what is going on? My name is RedArcherLive, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my ultimate guide to the 1-down difficulty in Payday 2. Those of you who've been subscribed to me for a while remember that I did a video last year called How Can We Improve the Console Versions of Payday 2, and in that, there was one feature where I talked about the fact that we get the difficulty masks randomly in Payday 2, and you don't have to have done all the difficulties to earn them, and in there I showed you that I got the 1-down skull having not completed the 1-down difficulty. I'm now happy to report that, as I said in that video, I was going to work away, get 1-down beaten, and thanks to some of you guys for actually helping me, I've finally beaten it, and I figured that now I've done it, I can give my pro tips, my advice, my expertise, and just a few more ideas like that to people who haven't yet beaten 1-down to give you a bit more of an idea of how to tackle the difficulty and the challenges that it brings you. So what I'm going to do is go through the main build that I use, which is actually one that I've already uploaded. It's the 1-down shotgun build. There are a few minor tweaks I've made to it, so I will just show you them very quickly. I'll just flick between the skill trees so you guys can see it. I'm not going to talk you guys through it because most of the explanation still stays the same, so you guys can go and check that out on that video. Link will be in the description. But very quickly, I will just show you that build so you can flick through, pause it, have a look at what I've got basic and aced, and then we'll get on with it and talk a bit more about my different tips to give on 1-down. Okay, so my first pro tip for 1-down, know the maps and their objectives. Whenever you play a heist in Payday 2, sometimes you won't always know what the objectives are when you go into them. Specifically with new DLC maps, when you get free maps or paid ones, it takes you a few goes before you get used to what it's actually asking you to do, and get used to how to quickly bounce between A to B when you know what objectives are coming, and you can plan around that. Playing on 1-down, there is a lot of enemies that can deal a lot of damage to you in a short period of time, and if you plan even one move wrong, they can catch you out, and you might be way too far away from your teammates for them to be able to revive you. So it's very important to make sure that you know the map you're going into, you know what you're going to have to do, have a better idea of what assets and what pre-planning you'd like to get, rather than just playing guesswork, and then knowing how to get through all the objectives without ever having to stop and wonder what's coming next, because at that point, you're basically a sitting duck and you're going to get shot by a lot of cops, and it's something you can quite easily prevent. So my best tip is to play on a lower difficulty on whatever heist it may be. If you don't know it that well, if you know it well enough, fair enough, go straight to 1-down. But if it's a heist that you think you need more practice with to learn different spawn points for loot bags, Goat Simulator is a very good example here, because knowing the spawn points of the goats can help you a lot, especially on 1-down. It's not a very good heist, you guys will know that by now if you've played the heist. There's very little cover and you want to spend as little time on both the days as you possibly can. But in day 1 specifically, on 1-down, you need to get 15 goats. And it isn't that there's a mission bag amount, then the rest are additional loot. You have to get all 15. There's no say in the matter. And personally, that's why I think Goat Simulator is a bad heist. If they had like minimum requirements, it would be, a lot better. But because of that, you need to know where the goats are going to spawn. And because there are 15, you might think there's only 15 spawn points, but there's a lot more than that. So knowing where they can be and knowing how to quickly move around and search and find where the goats are and where they aren't will save you a lot of time in the long run. And there'll be a lot less time where you're getting shot at by police. So stands for every heist, even the ones you might think are easy. Just in case there's that little chance you might get caught out, make sure you know the map and everything that it has on top of that. So cop spawns, loot spawns, different RNG elements. For instance, another one is undercover. When you have the limo and you have to get the taxman out of it, there are several places it can end up. It can land on the roof, it can fall through the roof, or it can fall through the roof and go right down the staircase right towards the bottom. Being able to prepare for any eventuality is a key feature, so make sure you're able to do that.
In my book, experience outranks everything.
It may be corny, but it's very true. Experience does outrank everything in Payday 2, and very similarly to what I've just said about knowing the map, make sure you have teammates who know the difficulty well. They know the different cops you can face, they know how to tackle them, and different teammates can have different strengths. You can have some that are very good at dealing with bulldozers, some that are very good at clearing out masses of cops in one area that are just basic level police enforcers, so you can just kill them all very easily. And if you can coordinate your movements and have a team that works very well, knows each other and can interact very well, or even if you don't know them, just people that you can talk to and cooperate with, it makes it a lot easier. Trying to do 1-down with 3 people you aren't even talking to, it's not going to happen very rarely that you'll actually get through the heist with no problems. You're going to have issues. You need to be able to coordinate and make sure you've got experienced people. Now, experience doesn't necessarily mean 25-100. You can be Infamy 25-100, and the people that I did a lot of these heists were that level. But you will find sometimes there'll be people who maybe stopped at a particular infamy, maybe got to even 5-100 and didn't go on from there, because by that point you've got the main 5 points of the infamy grid, not tree anymore. So they've got the skill point reductions in all 5 of the skill trees, they didn't need to level up anymore. Some people will go for that attitude and not want to rank up anymore, which means they could have that experience. So if they're not 25-100, do try and find out if they do still have the experience. Of course, there will be people who say they have the experience and they don't. I've had this before. People who join my game as a low level, and I've said, do you know what's happening in this heist? To try and see whether they know what's going on, and they go, oh, I've played this on PC, it's fine. And then they make every rookie mistake I can think of for someone who's played like 30 minutes of Payday 2. So don't be dishonest, but you know, people usually will give you an idea of what they know and what they don't. So always make sure that you pick good, experienced team members who can help you and benefit you, and you guys can bounce off of each other and communicate very well. Thirdly, we're going to talk more about builds and what builds to bring into the heist that you're going to be doing on One Down. Now, most of you will know there are two metas as to which build you actually take into Payday 2. There can be a dodge build or an armor build. There are little fledglings and different builds in between, like little grey areas, but when you get to One Down, you really need to pick one or the other. There isn't really much of a say in between. There's very few fledgling builds that will work on One Down. For me, I chose dodge, as I've said, the One Down shotgun build, which has not really changed very much, like I said at the very start. A few skills have swapped around, and also my shotguns have both changed. It's not the GSPS and the Jocelyn anymore, it's the Moscone and the Judge. They are much better, and while I'm talking here, I'm showing you guys my attachments on them, just so you got a bit more of an idea. But my point being, you need to know what you're going to be doing, what build you're going to be bringing in, and you need to know it inside out. Don't just pick armor skills because you think you'll be able to take loads of damage. If you don't know your build, it will not benefit you the way you think. The problem with me, especially with the Anarchist build, is when I first tried it out, I expected to be able to just stand in the middle of a gunfire and not die. I quickly realised that with an ICTV, the regeneration speed and armor isn't as great as you might think, and that if you're actually more careful with it and you plan how when you actually make your movements, the build works beautifully. So that's something to consider, and something you really to keep in mind. Don't presume things about a build until you've actually tried it, tested it, and you know that it works. But just as I said in my first point about map knowledge, it may be very valuable to try these weapons and these builds out on lower difficulties, scale the difficulty up, get to One Down and go, okay, I know how this works by now, I know what skills I'm getting, I know what skills I'm bringing in, I know what benefits I have, let's use them in the correct fashion. For example, in my new One Down shotgun build, one of the very few changes I made is getting basic Messiah, which means at one point during the heist at any time, and I can't recharge this, at one point I can kill an enemy and revive myself without anyone having to shout me. That has saved our skin a few times. Not as much as having Messiah ace, granted, but I know what I can do and I know what my skills give me, and I can plan it accordingly. So if I down right at the start of a heist and I kill someone and use Messiah, then I've wasted it, and I didn't know my skills and how they worked properly. But because I go in knowing that I can use it at a certain time when maybe everyone's down and there's a random security guard in front of me that I can just shoot, like, you know, for example, I can shoot him, get up, and start inspiring people. I can inspire one person, they inspire the next, and so on and so forth. And talking about inspire, that's what I want to move into next. Once you've picked what build you want to go for, armor or dodge, and you've gone for either a really high detection risk, high output build, or a high damage build with low detection risk so you can get critical hits and dodge and all that stuff, you need to be able to have the right skills with it. Now, there are some staple skills that I say you should always take into One Down builds, and my personal recommendations are always bringing doctor bags. Doctor bags are your friend. And the difference that some people don't realise between doctor bags and first aid kits is first aid kits do not restore how many downs you have before you go into custody. Doctor bags do. When you're grey screened and you take a doctor bag, your downs go back up to 1 or 2 on One Down, depending on the skills you have. We'll touch on that in a second. But if you know that and you take doctor bags in, that means there's plenty of opportunities for you to stop going in custody and prevent you from being out of the game for a very long assault. First aid kits can be useful. They have their benefits, such as being able to instantly use a first aid kit and not go down if it's within a 5-meter radius of you. If you have the right skill. Obviously, you have to have the skills to accommodate this. But I think doctor bags are better, and my recommendation is 3 players, 4 if you want, but 3 should definitely take 2 doctor bags, each with 4 charges. That is a given. Either the 4th person can take doctor bags, they can take first aid kits, or they can take ammo. It's up to them, but that's my recommendation. 3/4 of your team should have doctor bags. And for those of you wondering, saying, do we have to have 4 players? Yes, have a 4-player team if you can help it. Obviously, sometimes you can go without, but I think that's the best move. But as I said a few seconds ago, there are some staple skills that I would recommend taking into One Down, and there are 3 that I want to talk about, but I fully understand that there will be some people who like these, don't like them, and use other skills that they think they have to use. These are my recommendations, and that's the whole point. It's just my expertise, and as always, I want to hear what you guys think. But the 3 skills I want to talk about are Inspire, 9 Lives, and Swan Song. Inspire, if you don't have it on One Down, you're at an extreme disadvantage. Being able to shout up your teammates from a distance without having to go through the hassle of sitting down in front of them, reviving them for about 10 seconds, being shot at from about every cop under the sun, it's beautiful being able to avoid that. It's so nice. So having that, and every 20 seconds having that ability to revive somebody else without that effort, it's beautiful. And on One Down, when there's loads of cops around enemies, sometimes shouting them up and letting them run away from the fight without you getting involved can work really, really well. I would say on any build, armor or dodge, make sure sure you take that. And then that obviously will lead you through Dr. Bags, or if you want to take first aid kits, you can, but at least you can get those skill points put into Dr. Bags on the way up to Inspire, so you're not going too far out your way to get that skill. Next up, 9 lives. Now, I'm fully aware, for those of you who watch my channel who play on PC, I know because I'm a console YouTuber, we don't have death sentence. We don't have the fact that 1 down isn't compulsory anymore, and I will explain that. For those of you who don't know, on PC now, 1 down has been renamed to death sentence, and you no longer go into custody after downing once. You have the same amount of downs as any other difficulty, with the option to turn a 1 down mechanic on, so like an on and off switch, on whatever difficulty you want. If you want to play normal with 1 down, you can do it. But on PC, the highest difficulty now has the exact same features as 1 down, but just without this 1 down mechanic, which was always stupid anyway because it was called 1 down, but most people ran this skill 9 lives and had 2 downs to play with anyway, so it never really was a great name for the skill, but for the difficulty, sorry. But either way, 9 lives gives you an extra down, as you would imagine, before you go into custody. So you down twice, and the 3rd time you'll go into custody, rather than downing once and the 2nd time is a custody visit. Which is actually quite handy, because then when you have Dr. Bags, you can get more downs back for every Dr. Bag charge you use. So it still applies to anyone on PC who uses the 1 down mechanic. This is still a very good tip, and I would still take it. And then obviously, us guys on console, before we get this update for Death Sentence, which may well be the next update, I don't know, we'll see, not really sure there, but it's a very good thing to take. And then finally, no matter what difficulty this is, really, I take this, but Swan Song. Now, those of you will know about the recent Swan Song nerf. Now we have that across Xbox One, PS4, and PC, and on the Switch, I think, as well. But Swan Song, before the nerf, was a 9-second skill where you could go firing as many bullets as you want without taking any damage, and you move at reduced speed, and after those 9 seconds you were down, and you'd have to be revived. If you got the basic version, you'd only be able to go for 3 seconds, but your ammo would deplete still. They wouldn't have infinite ammo, so whenever you picked up Swan Song, it was normally ace. There wasn't really any reason to just get basic. It was either ace it, or don't get it at all. Well, now after this update and this nerf, it's now 6 seconds. That's the only thing that's changed, though. And I've said it in the past, I don't really think it makes much difference. I still think Swan Song is a beautiful skill to take. I think it's absolutely fab, and to take it on 1 down is very handy. Especially with the shotguns I've got, being able to clear out a bunch of cops while I'm in the process of dying anyway. It rescues a lot of the team, it can make things a lot easier, and also can help you run to a safe spot if you think you're in the middle of sniper fire and you want to run for cover. So, really good skill to take, and those are the 3 I would recommend most. Beyond there, go for what your weapons are. Go for what skills complement the weapons you have. Whether you have single fire assault rifles, auto fire submachine guns, sniper rifles, shotguns like me. Whatever you pick, have the skills to accommodate it and make those weapons better. Otherwise, you're just being foolish and you're throwing your skill points away for no reason. And finally, above all else, it's something I say on every stealth video I do, but practice makes perfect. It's the most cliche thing you'll ever hear. Your parents probably say it to you when you're a little kid and you're going into school and you complain about not being able to run the 100 meters fast enough. Practice makes perfect, kid. When you can't pass that test. Practice makes perfect. It's so cliche, but it's so true. Because with Payday 2, like I said about map knowledge, with experienced teams, everything like that, you might know the map from studying it on a Payday Wikipedia. You may know it from other people. But the best thing to do is to practice it yourself and understand the fact that not every heist will go well on 1 down. It's designed to be a challenge. It's designed to be difficult. And stuff like Goat Simulator and the Bomb Forest, if you sign up for going into those heists, you should know that you're going to be pulling your hair out 90% of the time and then screaming with joy that you finished it the other 10% of the time. On Death Wish and below, the likelihood is you'll probably get through it without failing for most players who, have played Payday 2 for a long time like I have. But for 1 down, for no matter who it is, there will always be that challenge and that risk that you take where things will not always go your way, and you just have to understand that, you have to appreciate it, and be prepared for that eventuality when you go into a 1 down heist. But other than that, that sums up my key tips for 1 down. I hope that covers everything you guys wanted to know. If there's anything I missed, again, feel free to leave some stuff down in the comments below, and I advise anyone to check the comments for anything that might have been missed. But other than that, what do you think about my tips? Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Do you think I've got some things wrong or right? What do you think of the new updated 1 down shotgun build? And do you have anything else to add about this video? If you have an answer to any of those questions, as always, get talking in the comments below. I try and reply to every single comment I get on videos, which I've already had people saying is really nice, so I'm trying to keep that up because I like interacting with you guys. So if you leave a comment and it deems a reply, not all of them do obviously, but if it deems a reply, I'll reply to it, and if not, I usually just tend to heart the comment anyway so you know that I've read it. But whatever comment to put, I read anyway. So leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. And if you have enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. It's very, very much appreciated. Other than that, thank you all for watching. Good luck on 1 down, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take it easy.